So Brad, the last time we got together, we talked about, or we did our stringing competition, and I think the biggest thing for me on that was the technical aspect. I had I had kind of set it all up, like I thought it was going to all work. I had my iPhone up over my stringing machine, and then I had my regular setup otherwise, and it just the iPhone just couldn't handle it for
Yeah,
whatever reason. So. Um, some of the technical issues, but it was fun.
your respect.
We got to just kind of string a racket and
That's how you learn, you have to actually get in the battlefield to get better.
yeah.
So that was just, whatever. We didn't need, the timer didn't need to be huge. We should have been big, right? So next time we keep the
Yeah,
timer really small
yeah,
and then keep us as big as we can. I didn't have my camera set up in the right orientation. So I was vertical instead of horizontal, which would have been easier. And I didn't realize that at the time. So it's like, it was nice
yeah,
that a few
yeah,
folks stuck around and watched us. And next time we'll get it better. Just, it's like
yeah.
early in the season, the first tournament in January after
ex-
3, 4 weeks off.
Exactly. Yeah, it was one of those things that can improve it every time we go, and next time it'll be better. And it's hard to, like, I can't go back and look at any of the technical issues while I'm stringing, because then I
Right.
slow down. Then I slow
Exactly.
down, and I'm not able
Yeah.
to focus on the stringing or whatever. But
Sure.
but yeah, it's I think for anybody, it's a good exercise to put yourself under some kind of tension, stress. I mean, not tension, but stress. To kind of that's where you really kind of figure out what you're made out of as far as stringing, right? Because
Yeah.
you're always going to go to your default way of stringing, and that'll get stronger as you have more opportunity to be under like a pressure situation.
Yeah.
Because we've all been there. Like, I remember back in, when I was working at different tennis clubs or shops. It would be like, a customer was waiting for the racket there, and like the first time, somebody was waiting for their racket, you're like, oh man, okay, they're going to be watching me,
Yeah.
and they're going to watch how I do everything, and I got to make sure I don't mess up. And then if you do kind of like have to like back yourself up, like one of the strings or whatever, or change something, you kind of do it subtly so that they don't see you
Totally.
or
Yeah.
whatever, right? And that's a good you know point where you could put yourself under that duress, and I think that just helps you later on become better, because you get after a while you just don't care anymore.
Yeah. If I
Like,
had to
yeah,
do it
fine, watch
again,
me.
what's that?
I said, yeah, you can just watch me, watch me string, and it's no big
Right.
deal.
Yeah,
And
I was watching a little bit, and I guess if I had to do it again, where I think I could have saved, a few seconds at least, is when I start the crosses. Not putting that little spacer in there. I probably should have just put the starting clamp on the outside of the frame. I don't think it took me too long, but it might have been 3, 4, 5 seconds.
mhm.
And then another thing we didn't really discuss, but I think we both did use the Diablo. And if we
Mhm.
didn't, that would have saved time, but I used the
Oh yeah,
Diablo.
you could go a lot quicker without the Diablo, but sometimes if you don't use it when you're pulling the string, sometimes as it releases, the string doesn't always pull out quickly from the clamper.
Gotcha.
At least on my machine, I have to. I think I need to oil it a little bit, or grease it a little bit, because it doesn't seem to be completely smooth. Sometimes it'll it'll get stuck. The string.
Yeah.
I have to pull it out or whatever, and so
Yeah.
it's not as fast. But yeah, we kept with the Diablo because I think we could have been a little bit quicker without.
Yeah, we
You
could
know.
have done a 14 mains, and we could have used a multi-filament or a synthetic string. Polyester is a little bit harder and stuff, but
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah,
all in
definitely.
all, that was the fastest I've strung a racket in a while just because I haven't tried,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
to go fast. I just go kind of, maybe 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's really what if you can do it in 20 to 25 minutes, that's really adequate for most things. And plus, that way you're not going to be burning the string. You're not going to be making any undue errors. Because
Right.
sometimes when you're going quick and all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
and 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 the whole idea is to be as consistent as possible.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's the most important thing. So All right. Well, that's a good recap from last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah,
It's
we didn't
weeks.
have a stream last week. We just weren't able to get together, and it's been just kind of busy. And right now, I've got a few other projects outside of tennis that kind of take a lot of my time. And until that's done, I haven't really been able to put a lot of videos out or whatever. So I hope to be able to get back in that routine.
Yeah.
Because last week I wanted to bring up the idea of, or not the idea, but I wanted to bring up, I was watching. Uh, who was it? Zverev, right? He's the one that cracked that racket on the umpire's chair, right? Was that
Yeah.
the one? Yeah. It was just kind of like, you see those every once in a while, right? Like Curios, what's the word?
Curious. Yep.
Yeah, he also, right, is sometimes, breaks a racket here or there, right?
Yeah. Zverev was a little out of line for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
He
that
was
was one
pissed
line. That
off.
was one step. That was one step beyond. I mean,
Yeah.
abusing the chair there, and
Yeah.
and that's why it's like a lot of times when you watch young, tennis players who are serious about the game and stuff like that. I think when the parents really uh, bring them up into a way like, respect your equipment, respect yourself, don't have these anger outbursts, right? Because little kids, that they'll pout on the court, right, and they'll just crack rackets and stuff when they're just, because they know their parents are just going to replace their rackets for them, and
Right.
they don't care, right? They're real kind of the spoiled, I've seen that so many times, when I used to be involved in tennis a little bit more, and it's just, um, and you can kind of see later on, right? Because that's what you go to sometimes. I mean, we all have our moments, right, where we want to
Sure.
just smash that racket, but at that level, when you start potentially, uh, could injure somebody else. You always got to be aware, because anything you do, even hitting the ball into the stands or just slamming the ball against the wall or something, you never know. There could be somebody standing there.
Right. Yeah.
You just got to be conscious of that and stuff. But
Yeah.
so yeah, that was kind of something just from last week. March is a big tennis month, right? Indian Wells, Miami, because
Yeah.
I think Indian Wells starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think,
Is
and
it tomorrow? Oh,
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it starts tomorrow, and I used to love going to that tournament because it's outdoors, it's out in the desert. As the temperature, you're sitting out in the stands, and the temperature in the afternoon cools down, and you just have the mountains behind you. That was just a fun venue to go to, and it's changed so much over the years,
did
and
you
it's
work at that venue?
I had not strung at that event. I had a few opportunities, but I actually never did. When I was a rep for one of the racket companies, I would go out there and I would represent the company and have a
Yeah.
booth. And I had a lot of accounts out in the desert, and so I would go. Plus, it's at that time some of the players and stuff I knew. So yeah, I would go out there and just love to just watch that every year. And now I think head stringing is still the head team. I think still, at least the last couple of years, has been the on court stringing team, and they use that new head machine that they came out with that they retailed last year. It's a pretty nice looking machine, that
Mhm.
electronic machine.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's the head team again this year. I haven't really checked into that too much, but um, it's a pretty big tournament on the tour. So I mean, it gets quite a lot of people going out there and stuff, especially
Yeah.
since it's in Southern California and stuff. Yeah,
Right.
that's always a great tournament. And then Miami, right? We got Miami
Oh,
after that.
yeah.
So yeah, so March is a pretty big month. Um, let's see what else. Oh, supply chain. I don't know. I was reading in. I just had gotten the latest RSI magazine that just
Yeah.
came. I get a hard copy because I guess I subscribed or whatever. Because
Yeah,
you
I
can
do
get
as
them on.
well. Yep.
Yeah, because you can get them online. I just like reading the hard copy. I mean, it's so much easier to pick it up and stuff.
Totally. Yeah.
And in there they had some new gear. And I think it's really for somebody who is looking to build their stringing business. I think it's important in the sense that it doesn't always have like tons of valuable information in it, because half of the stuff in here is about courts, about court maintenance, about building tennis courts,
Yeah.
and now a third of it seems to be about pickleball and paddle tennis and all that. But when the racket manufacturers come out or with new frames, they'll highlight them sometimes in here, and so they talk about the new rackets that are coming out. Babolat's coming out with a couple new frames, the Pure Strike VS, and then Yonex, and then Head, Wilson. So they'll highlight some rackets that are coming out. So I think it's good for, if you were in that, if you're a stringer, or working in a pro shop, I think it's valuable. And there's always something about stringing too. And this issue specifically had,
Yeah, it's
um,
fantastic.
it had because the USRSA also has a stringing database, and they have about 1,100 strings in there. I think that they rate the same way that the Tennis Warehouse does. They of course have their own team that will test it for stiffness, test it for tension maintenance, and so forth. And so they've listed their top ones that they've added recently, and they have a list in here. I don't really want to go over all those because that might be only for
And
the
this
subscribers. It's only maybe for the subscribers, because I think you have to subscribe to this in order to get all this information. But there are two strings. I'll just mention the two that have the best tension maintenance of the new ones that they've added. I know you probably have you had a chance to read that article?
Yeah, I save that page. I don't save every issue, but I
Yeah.
save those pages because I thought that was neat. It's an update of the newest strings and stuff
Yeah,
and
and
stiffness and
and
all
and
that.
it was interesting because these are really not two of the main brands that I would normally even look to buy or use any of the strings. But as far as tension loss, the two on the page that are under 10 pounds of tension loss, the first one is Gamma TNT React Pro 17. That's
Okay.
9.5, so they're only going to lose 9.5 pounds over the time that they, and it's the
That's
lowest.
right in the range of natural gut.
Yeah, I know. And then the other one is ProKenix Premier K RX 17. So you have to also be careful not to use a 16. It's a 17 that matters in that one. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. Um uh sorry, yeah. And
Never saw that pop up before.
yeah, I think it's because I was flipping through the StreamYard thing, and I was looking to see if there's any comments, but for some reason it's not showing me. Maybe there is no comments.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so those two were under 10 pounds, and I was like amazed, like wow. I mean, those are both nylon based strings, but so you wouldn't expect them to be over 20-pound loss anyways, but still to be under 10, that's a good tension
Real
maintenance.
good.
Yeah, real
Yeah.
good. Yeah, so yeah, so I encourage people to join the USRSA just for the fact that they get information. I think the RSI magazine, I think you can get it without subscribing to the USRSA. I'm not
Maybe
sure.
so. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
sure
you'd
either.
you'd have to just go, because that's more the racket sports industry magazine. But yeah, that comes out um, uh, either monthly or quarter. It comes out monthly, I think. So yeah, that's always a good resource. I like getting that and reading that. So yeah, I thought that was kind of informative. Do you have anything specific that you want to kind of go
Well,
over?
you had mentioned supply chain earlier. I
Yeah.
know,
Oh yeah, supply.
where I order string in Europe, over at that UK Racket Depot or whatever, I forget what's the other one, but, they've been out of stuff.
WD. Yeah.
Yeah, WD, they've been out of stuff for a couple months, and they've restocked a lot of their head strings and stuff, so that finally came in after a couple months. Um, on another note,
Before you go off of that topic, yeah, that's why I brought it up initially, because in here they're still talking about when they're talking about this new rackets. They're talking about over the last couple of years, not as many things have been released, partially because of the supply chain issue and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff, and it seems to still be a topic. It still hasn't
right,
kind of subsidized or kind of
caught up
corrected
with
itself,
itself or yeah,
and now I think a lot of the efforts with what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, right? I think that potentially could create you know bigger issues that continue to um,
yeah.
impact us more globally. So who knows how that's gonna play out? But that's been kind of heartbreaking. But
Yeah, it sure has. Sure has. And then on another note, I string for a fairly good nationally ranked junior, and he's been using the same string for quite a while. Although we've been getting him to try some other strings, just to see if there might be something that connects with him better. And he's tried, RPM Blast Rough, Hyper G.
mhm,
He's in Head Links, which he's really liked Head Links. Um, but now that he's got a little bit of an off season, he put a ALU Power in for him to give ALU Power a shot,
mm,
and he was blown away. He was blown away how great it felt in his racket after trying like four or five that he felt didn't work at all for him, and always going back to Link. So he was pretty excited today. He played phenomenal. It felt great on his string. So it's just a reminder to folks to, you know, take some time once in a while. If you're not sure what's going on, if things aren't feeling right, try some
mhm.
different strings and don't give up if you try one or two. It does get a little expensive, but it's pretty exciting when you find something that really feels awesome. Um, and it's hard to switch. It's hard to, we get comfortable with something, but if you don't try, you might not realize what you're missing, or at least you'll have more confidence in what you're using, which is good too.
Mhm. But at what point do you then like go to a new string if you are just looking at maybe better tension maintenance? Because I was as here, I'll give you an example of
Yeah.
what I'm getting at. So yeah, I was actually playing with somebody yesterday, and a friend who just came into town, and he's always used like, or recently he's stuck with just poly based strings, and he used a Lu Power, a Lux Lu Power, I think, 17 gauge, and he likes it, and he doesn't really break it or anything. It's lasts fine, and he likes the string.
Sure.
But I'm like thinking in the back of my head, because he'll only string it maybe every 3 months or when it breaks or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking, well, think about the tension maintenance, because it's going to get harder on your arm, as you stick with the string and just wait until it breaks, because you probably will definitely go through its life cycle before it breaks,
Yeah.
because he's going to play more than 17, 18 hours easily, and he'll go through that maybe 2, 3 weeks. And so I'm like thinking, so let's get you in a string, maybe try something that still gives you that same kind of feel, but maybe has better tension maintenance, you know maybe not as stiff. But so I'm wondering, like, at what point do you even bring that up with people? Because if they're happy with their string and they don't see any issue with it,
Yeah.
so at what point, what do you just leave it alone, or do you, like, offer to say, hey, let's try this, because it's the actual, it's going to maintain the tension better,
Yeah.
and it might be better on your arm. So that's kind of always I think
Yeah.
the
It's
more
it's
the more you know.
it's tough, and it's hard if someone is happy with what they're in. It would be awful to suggest they try something else. The next thing you know, they've got tennis elbow or their wrist
Yeah,
is bothering them. I
yeah, or
mean,
it's worse, right? Yeah.
yeah, or it's worse and stuff. So the only time I would really is if the customer starts talking about issues with their game or their arm or their shoulder, whatever it is.
Hmm.
Geez, the balls are flying on him. His arm. He's feeling too much shock maybe in his arm. He
Hmm.
wants more power. He's looking for more touch. He's looking for more spin. Then you can start getting in some strings. And if you have access to the database, or which
Hmm.
everyone does, because Tennis
Hmm.
Warehouse University doesn't charge to look at
Right, exactly.
their stuff, right? So everyone has access. You might be able to find a string that's got good spin potential and is also in the same sort of stiffness category or comfort category as your current string. But you're
Yeah.
looking for more spin, so now you've got a string that it matches up the comfort level, but also might assist you getting a little more bite on the ball. Although that's a whole nother conversation itself. Do
Yeah,
those?
and so I think what you're saying is there really should be a reason why you're having the conversation. If
Yeah,
if everything is as is, everything is good, there's nothing, there's no complaints about anything, they know what they want, you know.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes sometimes as the technician though, you want to offer you want to be
I
able
think I
to
lost you.
oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think you froze a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
There
mean,
you are. You're back.
the one thing is though that, you're as a
Little.
technician, your job is to educate, uh, your customers or your clients about what's out there, what potentially could be better. It's kind of like if you were tuning up your car, if there was something
Yeah.
better, you know, wouldn't you want to find out about it? If you were, if you took your car to a mechanic or something, hey, if we tried this,
Yeah.
we could do this, and you might not know anything about it because you're not in that space all the time, and you just don't know about it. Because your client, he's just into playing tennis, and he just wants, his equipment to continue working well. But if you go to him and go, hey, you know what, I think this might, help you out in this area. I don't know. It might be worth uh, discussing, even though there were no reason why he would want to switch. You know.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things. Do you want to open the door and then you know,
Right. And then deal with, hey, they're happy and you're
yeah,
recommending a new string. I mean,
yeah,
so then they're not happy and they spent $30 on a new string. And
yeah,
yeah, so it's
exactly.
tough. It's almost like just keep your mouth shut unless they have an issue
Yeah, yeah,
in a way, or if they're the type of person that loves new technology and you just want to share with them about a new string that's getting a lot of hype and it's, really popular and people are really enjoying it, you may want to, you know, bring that
yeah.
up with someone. It depends. There are people who love switching rackets every time a new one comes out in that model. They want the latest, greatest.
That's true. The
So,
innovators, right? Yeah, and those are going to be the people that are always going to be talking to you about string. Hey, what's new out there? Hey, this is what I want. Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, if you get that conversation already going, then to kind of interject your points and so forth. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's
I'm I've been stringing a little bit here and there, keeping, I think I did 39 in January, maybe 42 February. And here's a question.
Oh yeah, we have a question. Okay. Had a little bit of a random question. I currently have a Gamma 5800 stringing machine. Down the road, I was looking to get a Babolat stringing machine, whether that be a Star 5 or a Racket Station. Yeah, well,
Where are you located? I wonder. Wonder where
yeah, I
he
wonder
is.
wonder where he's located
Because I
because
heard
there's
Babylon told me they're going to get a machine in the US pretty soon.
there's a big difference, I think, between the Star 5 and a Racket Station. That Racket Station, I think, is close to $10,000, isn't it? Because it has the screen and it has um I don't I'm a little uh out as far as knowing I haven't been
Maybe,
studying the what's out there with the latest Babolat machines, but I know that um Sacramento, so he's in California, Northern California, or
yeah.
California. But yeah,
Yep. So I contacted Babolat a few months back, and they were thinking about getting a distribution of the Babolat machines in the US.
mm,
As far as I know, they don't yet, but maybe they
mhm.
do. I just worry about getting a machine that's not made here, and if you have issues with it, and
Babolat has always had quality machines, from the Star
yeah,
3 to the 4, then to the 5. I mean,
yeah, I guess they
Babolat,
all use them in New York.
yeah, those are the best machines. I mean, I couldn't say anything bad about Babolat machines, and I've always liked them because they're so streamlined, they're simple. I mean, simple is in the process, in the idea that they just don't have bells and whistles everywhere. It's just a straightforward. It's kind of like the European cars, right? Like the BMW and the
Right.
Mercedes. They're just really streamlined and clean and just in very good quality. But yeah, if you're looking to get, I mean, definitely that's a big step up from a Gamma 5800. The the Yeah, I mean, you're moving from a regular machine to a full-on professional grade machine. So
Is the Racket Station the top of the line Babolat machine?
well, it's the one that has, yeah, I think it's up there in that range because the racket station has like a screen on it, a big computer screen, and then it's also designed to hook up to the RDC machine. Or I mean,
Okay.
right now I think they stopped some years ago. They stopped making the RDC machine, but I think they still have it still has a link to some other computer components and so forth. We'll have to do a little more research on that. I can't really talk about that without
Yeah, I'd have to
catching up
do
on
some
that a little
also.
bit. But yeah, but Babolat's got some pretty high end machines that are pretty
Yeah.
cool. But
It sounds like he's got good experience stringing,
yeah, I've worked
so
at tennis shops and at tournaments over the years, and I'm looking to get one of my own Babolat string machines. And again, I think it comes to what the purpose of it is. Is it going to sit in a shop? Because I mean, you're not going to be transporting the racket station around very much, and so you got to kind of think if you're looking for it because you want to upgrade and you're going to have it in the shop. Um, you got to kind of look at that. But I think uh, I would also look at that Dunlop machine or maybe the head machine too. I mean, those are because the head machine is being used at a lot of tournaments, and I think that one you can just take off the stand and set it on a table, and then you want to think about the weight. You know how feasible is that? So in case you do have to travel with it, is it if is it good for that? Because obviously the Wilson Biardos are not really designed. I mean, unless of course you're the tournament. I mean, if you're Wilson and you're transporting them around, it's not big of a deal. But if you're an independent stringer and you want to go to tournaments, taking that Biardo around is not going to work out that well. That's a heavy machine,
it's
and
a royal pain.
yeah, it's too big and bulky and stuff. I mean, we can both talk about that, huh, Brad? Because we both have one. But I mean,
Yeah,
it's
you wouldn't want to
you'd be better
travel with
off
it,
getting
no
something
way.
lighter and a little bit more sleek. And I think all those new ones that are coming out because they all kind of look alike. The head and the Dunlop and then the Solinco. All those kind of machines are a little more streamlined and I think a little bit lighter.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah, I mean, a
And I
Star
don't
5 is
know if
decent.
you'd yeah, the Star 5. I don't know where you would get it. Who sells the Star 5? Anyone in the US, or they're just hard to
Well,
find machines anywhere. Everyth's
yeah,
been sold out.
I mean, right, because the 5's been around for a long time, and, I don't I'm assuming that he's looking at buying a used discontinued one, but because I don't think they don't have those in production anymore, but,
Oh, the Star 5s?
yeah, the Star 5, I think that's been a few years since they've done that, but when you do buy a used electronic machine, you have to be careful depending on where you buy it. Um, and there are folks that service it, but that could be expensive because you might have to send components to wherever stringy machines. They repair them, and you'd have to send those components, and usually the stuff that goes wrong is the electronics, and then somewhere there's some a big expense there. So
Right,
sometimes if the some of these machines that are like $3,000-4,000, you can purchase new. If you can get something for that price new versus saving only $1,000 and getting a used one, I'd maybe opt for a new machine just because then there's at least a warranty for a while and you don't have to worry
yeah,
because you never know where the used machines have come from.
right,
You're taking a chance. I mean, I've taken the chance on several of those, but you just don't know. They could have been sitting somewhere in a warehouse for a while, and somebody just is selling it, and it's you don't
right.
know the electronics and stuff. But
There's some great forums also on Facebook. There's some incredible forums where, a lot of times I go on forums and I'm seeing some of the best stringers in the world answering just, normal folks who are asking stringing questions. And you've got the
hmm
head stringer at Wimbledon who's always chiming in. You've got some other top stringers who are at all the tournaments in Europe or Australia, and they're chiming in. And so, I mean, you can get a lot of great information, and there's a lot of people who have used whatever you're asking about, probably who have used it and who can give you some real world input on
mm,
it.
yeah,
So,
I think
do you
a
remember? I
couple of
don't remember, what are the Facebook pages called? Do you remember some of the ones that were on that
you
are
know
pretty
what
good?
I was gonna go look to see if I saw any of the ones that I joined, because you have to ask to join, and you have to be, I think, a stringer on a couple of them. I was looking to see if any of them came up, because I forget the names of them. One was like oh boy, I don't see
Yeah,
the
I only kind of see
feed.
them when they post something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, right. Because I don't spend that much time on Facebook. So let me see if let's see here.
I'm trying to see if I can find one either, but there are they all have to do with stringing or something.
Yeah, yeah. Right now, nothing's coming up. But yeah, they every once in a while there'll be some really good posts. Um, because yeah, there's a lot of folks on there from around the world that have some good knowledge about the industry as well and stuff. So yeah, I go on there and look at that sometimes. Yeah, sorry. I'll if we can come up with a couple of them, we can always post them.
Yeah, there you go. It's a good idea.
Yeah,
Maybe for next
yeah,
week or next time we talk, we can kind of.
right. Oh, I know one thing I was going to bring up. It was from the RSI issue actually that got me thinking about it. Was, you know how a lot of times when you buy one racket and then you buy another one off the shelf, you know, the quality control is not always there, right? Because they could be off by, you know, the balance could be off, or the weight could be off by a bunch. But now, you know, but I like the idea of like some of the companies, you know, they now you can either buy a single racket or you can buy a set of two rackets, and they're matched a little bit closer, right? They'll guarantee that they're
Oh,
within a pound or so. And that was listed in this last issue and stuff. And I don't really know, you know, how long company's been doing that. I think that's a fairly recent thing, but I know Babolat's got that. So you can buy a pair of rackets, and then if you buy a pair at a time, then you know that they're at least going to be within, you know, 1 pound difference or something like that with the weight and the balance and all that. So you have a little bit better, maybe a little bit better quality control.
probably
And they
one
sell two
ounce is what
rackets
you're
that way.
talking about.
What's that?
1 ounce. I mean, you're probably
Yeah.
talking about 1 ounce
Yeah. What did
difference.
I say? Oh, 1
Pound.
pound. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Ah, yeah. 1 ounce. Yeah. That would be a really, yeah,
Yeah.
really heavy racket. 1 ounce. But actually when I used to have that Prestige Pro, right? Uh, the old one made in Australia, the head racket, and that was 13 ounces. That's still under a pound, but you know, that's a
Yeah.
fairly heavy racket. But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
but yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Just,
That
you know,
is.
that companies are starting to do that a little bit more, so that it kind of takes that issue away when you're, you know, buying two rackets or for them though. I think, you know, it just sells. They're able to sell more units that way, because, you know, if you're really concerned about that, then yeah, you're going to buy two at a time. You know,
Yeah,
at least
for
you're going to be a
sure.
little bit better off, because you're always going to have at least two rackets, right? So,
Oh yeah.
um, and the last thing I was just going to touch on was, I remember back in November, right? We talked about squash, right? That we were going to maybe look into that. And now look, we're in March, and I haven't even. I mean, we had on Paul. Was it Paul? Was it
John
Paul?
Sharp.
Yeah, and
John.
some time back regarding squash and everything. And you know, I still haven't
I
strung a
haven't
squash
either.
racket. And we're in
I haven't
March.
either.
Yeah, I
Mm.
just thought I'd bring that up again, because I know we talked about it way back then. I think we talked to that was our New Year's resolution or something like that, that we were gonna,
No, we
because
still got
in the
9 months.
RSI, they had, in the RSI magazine, they talked about they had some squash strings on that list and stuff, and that's what reminded me again, like, oh yeah, that's right, we talked about squash some months back and stuff, and I still
Yeah.
haven't like gotten into that at
Yeah.
all. Oh, it looks like PCS stringing joined us this time again. Hey, welcome back. Yeah, it's been a few weeks, right? And
Yeah.
he also said at Joseph. Okay, so Babylon no longer really supports the Star 5. Yeah, so that can be a big issue if and when something went wrong with it. Yeah, when they stopped, because you know, for a long time they supported the Star 3 and the 4 when they were around, right, during its long period of, because the Star 4 just kept its um I guess it's a little niche, you know, for so long, and people were using them, and they were being used at the tournaments, and you know, this was before so many of these companies came up with good alternatives to tournament stringing machines, right? Before like Wilson
Yeah.
got into the Biardo and all that, and so yeah, once they stop supporting them, it's going to get expensive, you know, because when you have to buy a new motherboard, or you have to buy, new chip for it, or whatever it is, or just some of the parts, and it just becomes a little bit harder and more expensive, especially if you're not able to fix it yourself, if you're not into electronics and you know how to do it. Because I don't know enough about electronics. I could do some basic things, but not like that. It's hard to know exactly when you guys are actually doing these hangouts. Yeah, well, we were always doing them on Saturday. I mean, we're in different time zones, so we were always doing it this time on Saturdays, and then every once in a while we switch to Sunday. And I do try to put it up in the middle of the week. This was kind of last minute. So yeah, sorry, PCS. Hey, if you want to join us on a a live stream, just let us know, and we can send you a link for the next one, or one down the road, and you could join. It'd be fun. Get some of the
Yeah,
other folks on, and kind of get some other
another New
people's
Englander.
yeah, I'd like to get Herb back on. I text or emailed him last week because he's been stringing a lot at. He was really busy at a college tournament.
Yeah, once
Out there.
college ends,
Yeah,
Herb will
once.
probably
Yeah,
slow down a tiny bit. He's probably
yeah,
slamming. I think he did like 300 rackets in the first
yeah. He
30.
did he did quite a bit. Yeah, I've been saying this for some time. Yeah, yeah. We'll have to get PCS on.
Yeah. Do you have his email or something? Contact him so we can
I
get him
think
on here.
so. I think I
Yeah.
do have his email still. If not, he can email me if he's listening still. He can email me through the my email is
YouTube.
located on the about section on the site, so
Okay,
on the
great.
YouTube channel, so he can get that, and then so maybe next week we can have a guest on. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd
because
be
it's just
fun.
try to maybe we can just get people from all over the country, kind of get
Yeah.
different perspectives, and different what's going on in the industry there, and what's going on in tennis there. And I know most of the country right now is playing indoors, right? um,
Yeah.
it's pretty cold. um,
Excuse me. Yeah,
and
college tennis is heating up, you
yeah,
know.
right, college tennis, right. That's right, because it's already March. There's a lot, the year's getting started with the pro tournaments, so that's good. There's a lot of that going on. Oh, it looks like Jim Kellogg just arrived too. Any thoughts on Best Buy in overgrips?
I'm a
Man,
huge fan of the I'll tell you what I love. Now it depends if you like the paper feel, right? Or if you like the tacky feel.
right. Yeah, I've always played with tacky just because oh yeah, that I was gonna say the Super Grap is the best. The
Yeah,
Yonex,
I
there's
love this
nothing.
super grip.
Yeah. I mean, Wilson, over the years, I think Wilson has kind of come up with their own edition of that, because they've
Yeah.
come up with some pretty good soft feel as well.
Comes in black if you like it,
Mhm.
red if you like it,
No, it's got to be white. Sorry, man, it's got to be white.
yellow. Yeah, I have most of mine is white. I
Yeah,
like the
it's always
white.
white. Yeah, that has always been the best. It's kind of a spongy, like a rubbery, but it's the best feel. I mean,
And I had a
I've always
guy I
loved
was
that.
getting them pretty cheap from for like 25 bucks
Oh,
for a
really? For real
yeah,
30? For 30?
yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
wow, that's
So,
really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
he had ordered a ton of them. He was out of Chicago. And so I ordered maybe like 10 from him, 10 30 packs. But if you're looking for those, reach out to Pat. I can give Pat his name and phone number, and you can pass it along if he still has them. He had a ton of 6 months ago when I talked to him.
Cool. Yeah, that would be good, because I actually need some overgrip. But the another overgrip, of course. I mean, if your hands sweat a lot, that's not going to help you at all. You're going to have to go with something like the Tourna grip. I mean, that's that's a pretty
Yeah.
standard one. So really, beyond those two, I don't really know of anything. If you're looking with tack, I mean, I know Tourna grip also has a tack um, grip that they come out with, to offset so that they have that part of the market. But I think the Yonex Grap is the best.
Yeah, I do
I
too
agree.
personally. PC likes the Torna Mega Tech.
Mhm.
I can't speak
Yeah.
on what I don't have experience with,
Right.
although I love this Yonex and
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
have
I've
experience
I've
with
used
most
the
of them.
Tourna grip, the other, the dry.
I
Um,
didn't like that at all.
yeah. I mean, I've only used it because a couple times. Depends if I'm in a climate where it's very humid.
Yeah.
I'll use that, but my hands usually don't need that, so I'll use the tacky grip, and
Yeah.
Yonex is the best. Um, but yeah, it's worth trying some of those. I mean, the Turner grip, because they make quality grips, and I've just never really bought from any of the other companies. Like, I mean, Gamma has some decent ones
Sure.
too. I
Yeah.
mean, they have the tacky, and but if you need dry, I think everybody's always gone to Turner grip. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
um,
True.
yeah.
True.
Here's one more. Yeah, I guess we'll just stay on for another minute or two, and then I guess that could be it since we've been on for 40 minutes. I don't
Yeah.
know if we have to go, but so let's see. Joseph Capel, let's see, makes sense. Yeah, the Star Five's pretty old. Yeah, I think 2006. Oh wow, that's right. It was. I wasn't thinking it was quite that old, but yeah, it has been a while since the five has been disconnected. Because I know every once in a while they'll show up like on eBay and other places, and I was like, when I've seen a couple, and I was like thinking, oh yeah, that would be decent. But then when I realized, like, yeah, it'd be hard to get information on that. Um, and then let's see, I just find it kind of weird that you can get most stringing machines from the company itself or another website, whether that's Technofiber, Wilson, Yonex Head, and so on, but not Babolat though. Yeah, you can though. There are a few companies like Tennis. What is it? Do It Tennis. It's just doittennis.com, I think, which is just an online like reseller.
Yeah.
I've seen some Babolat machines on there, but for most of them, they don't. You're right. Most of them don't list Babolat machines. In the UK, I think WD has Babolat machines. I think. No, that they had Yonex machines, maybe not Babolat machines. Yeah, I mean, some companies keep a little bit closer control, maybe, of their resell policy, and maybe keep that a little bit closer to
Yeah.
home, I guess, when it
Yeah. And
comes
I
to.
reached out to Babolat USA in August of 2021. And a woman named Karen wrote me back, and she said that at some point in the not too distant future, there may be a new machine to sell in the US. Nothing has been announced yet, but she recommended checking back with us, meaning with Babolat,
Hmm.
in late October. So that's a few months ago,
Hmm.
after we have our sales meeting regarding 2022 products. Hopefully, we will have more specific information at the time. So this was, I just reached out to them randomly on Babolat.com,
Hmm.
told them I was in the US and what I was looking for, and that's what she wrote back with. So,
Yeah, yeah,
like,
because back in the day too, usually you would go through your local rep, right? And so if you didn't have a shop, normally you wouldn't have that avenue to
yeah,
go, because usually you would go through your sales rep, and then they would get you the deal, because you'd get a better deal, and then you get some kind of deal with the machine and the strings and all that. And so that's usually where you would go through to get a machine like that, because most home stringers aren't going to be buying
lost you a little bit.
five
Seems like
six
you've got a
thousand.
little interference today.
No, is it? Oh, am I breaking up again? Oh, okay. But yeah, it's yeah.
You're back.
Okay. Um, yeah. So you've been looking into Babylon machines, huh? You looking to get another machine?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, this is before I bought the Wilson. This was
Oh,
back in
gotcha.
August.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back in August, I'd emailed them, and she replied with, "We may have one that we're selling in the US, but we're
Oh.
we're not sure yet." And that kind of scared me away from it,
Hmm.
which is why I went with the Bayardo. So,
Yeah.
that was,
Yeah.
I decided to
Yeah.
get the Wilson, but
Yeah. But yeah, there's things you got to think about when the support and the parts, and yeah, there's always issues. And so if you stick with something like a Wilson or Dunlop, Dunlop, they're bringing them, they have the machines here now. And Head, I think Head is I wonder if they're selling a lot of those machines or not. They seem to be showing up here and there,
is
and they're using them in stringing teams, at pro tournaments. So that might be an option for you. Look
and
into the Head
Gamma's
machine.
Head's good probably. Gamma has great customer service, and if you're in the Northeast United States, I mean, they're right in Pennsylvania. I can call and get so and so on the phone and have a
Yep.
great answer. It's really a nice family-owned business, and they have some good product also.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, that's about all I have for this week. I will probably try to watch some tennis online and, of course, continue,
Yeah.
watching all the world news and stuff because that's kind of a little more on my mind than tennis over the last few, I guess, over the last week. But
Yeah. For
yeah,
sure.
but yeah, Brad, I guess we'll get together this week and figure out a good program for next week, and maybe we should talk about stringing machines.
Yeah, we could do that. Do a little research
Yeah,
because
yeah, get up to speed on that again,
yeah,
since we
let's get up to speed on that.
yeah, and we could
We
talk a
can
little bit
talk
about
about
what to look for.
Facebook pages that have been really helpful and also some stringing machines, things like that.
Yeah, some websites and stuff. Okay, yeah, let's
You
do
want
that.
to
Let's
you
do a
want to
little
do
research.
next Sunday at 7 again, just so these guys can plan on it, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's good. We'll do that. And what I'll do is maybe today or tomorrow I'll put up the thumbnail for that so that it'll be on there. People can see when it's going to be live next.
yeah, do you want to give PCS my email because he has your email, he said?
Yeah, yeah, I can do that.
Or
I'll
you could just email me PCS also directly. It's just Brad123T like Tom at gmail.com.
mhm.
Just email me right there, Brad123T like Tom at gmail.com.
Yeah, and it rhymes. Yeah, that'll be good. And yeah, so let's just plan on talking about stringing machines, and who knows, maybe something else that comes up. We always throw in a few things here or there, but yeah, let's focus on stringing machines so we can do a little recap and get all the latest info on that. So
Yeah, I think I'm going to get on my indoor bicycle for an hour now, right? Why wait till Monday morning to start the week off? I'm going to end the week with a good workout.
there you go, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually ran a 5K this morning. So
Good for you.
I'm not a runner though, but it's like it was fun to get out
Yeah,
there and do it again. I hadn't done one in a long time. And
that's
so
awesome.
yeah, so now I think I'm kind of energized to do more now. I'm kind of like, yeah, let's do it. We did it as a family, so
Yeah, we
it
can
was nice.
talk about next week. Head did just come out with a great new machine too,
Yep.
so there's some stuff we can talk about
Right.
next week.
And that machine, I wonder if that machine, those are the machines that they're using at the tournaments.
I think they are, but I'm
Yeah,
not positive.
yeah. So all right. Well, I guess that's it for this week, and enjoy your time on your bike, and
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, guys, and
all right.
thanks,
Thanks
Pat.
everyone for watching.
Yeah, have a great week. See you next week.